Hello there, and welcome to the Stories for Tomorrow podcast. So, what's it all about? If you love listening to inspiring and fascinating stories, you are in the right place. We love chatting with interesting people with stories to tell. In each episode, we will be sharing true stories told by real people. We believe that stories should last forever, and our mission is to keep stories alive by sharing them. We hope you enjoy it. This podcast is sponsored by Clockbox, a digital memory box of your life to be shared with future generations. With your host, Larissa Lima.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Stories for Tomorrow podcast. In this episode, we're going to have a lovely chat with a businesswoman and young mother. We're going to talk about some of the challenges of balancing her marketing career with being an incredible mother to her little boy. So with no further ado, let's get started with Sophie Towe.
Hello, Sophie. I'm so happy to have you on the Stories for Tomorrow podcast. How are you today?
Yeah, really well. Thank you, Larissa. It's lovely to see you too.
That's very good. So let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you originally from.
Yeah, sure. So I live in the south of England in a little town called Lewes. It's just outside of Brighton. And I live there with my husband and my little boy, who's 3 years old. I grew up in Eastbourne, right on the coast. So not traveled far, but have been traveling around the world in that time to various places as well.
Oh, that's so cool. And do you have a favorite childhood memory to share with us today?
Do you know what? When I read this question, I was like, there's so much. I think I'm really lucky that I actually remember my childhood memories, because a lot of people I know, they have trouble when I've asked that question before. They go, oh God, I can't remember past that point.
Yeah.
So really fortunate to remember some, but like I said, we grew up on the beach. Our house was on the beach, really, really lucky. And I just remember with my two brothers, we used to go and sort of salvage other people's what was probably rubbish, like left behind surfboards or just stuff to make sandcastles. And we'd just spend time on the beach, mucking around and like riding the surfboards down the beach. So yeah, there's some of the fond memories definitely living there that came back to me. And just spending time with family. My dad is a fisherman, and he used to launch his boat off that beach. So just remember daily going out and sort of helping him with that. So I think the beach is probably where most of my childhood memories come from, definitely.
That sounds so cool. That's so nice. And Sophie, I also know that you work as a head of marketing at Leucan Secure. Would you mind tell us a little bit more about the company and the work that you're doing there?
Yeah, sure. It's actually such an exciting company. We are a startup. So Leo Cancer Care was founded probably 4 or 5 years ago in Sydney in Australia. And it's all about developing products for radiotherapy, so treating cancer patients with radiotherapy. And at the moment, every patient that's treated with that is laid down at the moment, traditionally, but we're developing products that are all in the upright orientation. So you're seated or perched. And I guess that brings a whole host of benefits, but one that I'm most excited about is just making patients more comfortable and feel more in control in their treatment. So it's an interesting one because I've never worked in healthcare before. So I've had to learn a lot of science, a lot of technology. But a thing that I really do enjoy the most is speaking and meeting with patients, and understanding that journey, because it's just so important for that to influence what we do going forward.
That's so interesting. I love it. I actually did some research in Leucan Secure, and I thought it was so interesting the way that you're trying to make like the cancer journey a way easier. It's something that's already very hard for people. That's so nice. That's so nice.
We call it a paradigm shift because it's a lot of people say, well, why hasn't this been done before? Because it's one of those such simple changes and innovations. But it was that go back 50 years ago when patients were first treated with radiotherapy, that's how they tried to do it, but people were too sick or laying down. So people are being diagnosed earlier now. And so, you know, walking in and out of treatment, and yeah, it's the right time to do it. And we're growing really fast, which is fantastic.
That's great. That's great. I also heard you started a new career recently, motherhood.
Yeah. The number one career, most important one, definitely.
Exactly. So you have a 3-year-old boy, and how was for you after dedicating like so many years to a marketing career, shifting your full attention to a new beautiful career? How do you find like the balance between work and motherhood?
Do you know, I go back to a conversation I had with my friend Anna, and she said it really clearly, because I think it is all about balance. And do you know what? Finding the perfect balance is probably impossible. So that's one thing you have to really sort of rationalize in your brain, is that, you know, there might never feel a time that you're getting it right, and that's okay. But she sort of said to me that, you know, your life, you've got to think about it a bit like a puzzle. And she said, you know, work and career is one puzzle piece, and your little boy and motherhood is another puzzle piece, and they're going to fit together. You know, and Reggie, my little boy's come into the puzzle, and you've just got to think about it like that it's going to fit together. You've just got to piece the two. So I think that's really it, is recognizing that there is no real perfect balance, and knowing that, you know, life does change and your priorities do change, and it's about just really understanding that, I think.
100%. So just to get a little bit more insights about yourself, let's say we're creating a Clockbox time capsule for you right now, and we're setting the release date for 50 years, 50.
Yeah.
What would you clock in there to describe who you are?
Yeah, and again, I think you could put a bit of pressure on yourself to think of something really grandiose in there. You know, you could be like, well, what is my legacy here that I'm going to leave? But I think you've got to kind of go back to what we're creating, memories every day, right? You know, even if it's conversations shared, or you know, someone really nice that you met for the first time. So I think for me, my legacy for now is I'd really like to capture the fact that my little boy has had a brilliant life, because for me, that would equal me being a good mum. And I think right now we really want the business to succeed in delivering that better care. So I think that for us would be a real milestone that we'd want to put in the Clockbox, 100%.
Definitely. And would you like to add pictures, like maybe videos, like letters? What would you think would describe you the best?
Yeah, I think pictures are a really good one, because I had this thought as well that at the moment everything's digital, right? And we put it all into this big photo album on our phones. But actually, you know, in that time, in 50 years time, where is that one place that we're going to go to find the important ones, or the memories we really want to talk to about our grandchildren, maybe, you know? So I think photos is a great one, and I would want to put my very special album photos in there, I think.
Oh, that's so nice. And whose time capsule would you like to receive or have received?
Yeah, so I thought about this, and my mum's dad I never met, because he died before any of us were born. So, you know, he never really got to be a grandfather, but I hear the stories of his life. So he was a firefighter in World War II. He became a traveling salesman, and he could speak 7 languages. And then he became a businessman and set up 7 hair salons, and you know, and cut hair for some really famous people. And so I just think he sounded like such a baller, you know, that I would just love an insight into his life. And you know, I think there was even stories of him and my grandma. You know, my grandma was a lot younger, and so, you know, it was just a really exciting time for both of them. And I think, you know, it must be sad for my mum to think that he never got to be a granddad, but to be able to
Yeah.
share memories would have been really cool.
100%. It'd be amazing, like, to have a video from him.
100%.
And what would you clock in a time capsule for your boy in a specific? Would you have like something in a specific that would you like to put in there for him, like for the future?
Would you like to pass on your legacy and never be forgotten? Download an easy guide on how to create a digital time capsule from this podcast's description and save your memories forever for future generations. This podcast is sponsored by Clockbox, a digital memory box of your life.
I think when we talked about my childhood memories, and I think, I see him playing here in the garden and just being a real little boy. And yeah, I think it's clocking those memories because, like I said, I'm really fortunate that I can dive back into them in my mind, but not everyone can. So, I would want him to see that. I would want him to see that, what sort of childhood and how he loved to play outdoors. Definitely.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. That's so nice. So just one final question for you now, Sophie. What was the most important thing that you've learned in life?
Yeah, I've learned the most, I would say, from my parents. And I think a lot of people will say that. But my parents have proven to me, and the lesson that I've learned is that you don't need much, or you don't need to do much in life to actually be happy. If you met them, they've got holes in their jeans, they're wearing t-shirts that are like 10 years old, and but they have got financial freedom, and you just wouldn't know it from looking at them, Larissa. Like you meet them and you'd think, wow, these people are really down to earth, and they don't go anywhere, they don't do much, but they're very happy in sharing goals together and achieving a life on like a shared values. And so I think I look to them to remind myself that, because in this world at the moment, I think you can set the bar really high, and I think it's really important, and they've just taught me to stay quite grounded whatever you're doing, remind yourself to be grateful for whatever you have and treasure those moments. Definitely.
100%. That's so nice. Yeah, I love asking this question. People always give me really nice answers, so that's so nice. Thank you for sharing. Just one thing that I thought, one question that I thought about now, have you ever met somebody in your life that you felt that person made you change your path? That's a hard question.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
I didn't give you time to think about this one.
I actually think it would be my husband. So he when we met was offered the job in Sydney, and I had always wanted to travel, but my career made me stay in the UK, and I had big plans to go to Sydney and travel solo. But we made the leap together, and he, I think for a lot of people that could have been a make or break situation. We'd only been together sort of 6 months, but we went for it. And I think he's taught me to, again, he's very down to earth. He's very just take things as they come, whereas I'm probably a little bit more a worrier. So I got on the plane, no job, didn't know where I was going to live in Sydney, and I went, and it's absolutely changed our path, because that's where we sort of discovered Leo Cancer Care, and it is like having another family member, working somewhere like that together, especially as well. But we are absolutely a team, and I think he's definitely changed my path for the better in the future, 100%.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Thank you so much for sharing. It's such a big challenge, and it changed everything in the future. 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much, Sophie. I just love it, getting to know you a little bit better and sharing some of your wisdom and life story in the Stars for Tomorrow podcast. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, loved it. Thank you so much, Larissa. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Stories for Tomorrow. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. This podcast is sponsored by Clockbox, a digital memory box of your life to be shared with future generations. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.